ASMR Magical Tools. Hello, Virgo. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back. Welcome back, Virgo. Welcome back. This is going to be your reading for the year ahead of 2022. The year ahead of 2022. So first, we are going to use this deck to do the 12 months of the year and see what is in store for you month by month. I wanted to let you know that I do offer personal readings at a variety of price points on my website. And I also have a Lenormand deck for sale. And I just started offering custom videos on the website as well. So if those are things that interest you, my link is down in the description box. You can go ahead and set your intention, Virgo, for the year ahead. Alright, let's look at the month of January. The Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is about conserving your resources, so this can be saving money. It can also be holding on to relationships with other people. So let's see what else is going on here. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. So in January, you might be feeling like you don't have a lot of options open to you. It could also be time to act on something. So whether or not you feel like you have enough options open to you in the month of January, that this card showing up in the reverse means that it's time to take action on something, whether you're ready to or not. I also want to point out, this is a month-by-month reading, but these energies are really flexible when we're talking about the tarot, and especially in the context of a general forecast. It's not going to be like exactly January necessarily. It very well could be, and this is just kind of giving you like a very general time frame of when these things might be taking place, right? We also have the Nine of Pentacles, which is a really great energy. This shows me that you do actually have a lot of resources at your disposal. So we have you're saving money, but you also have quite a bit of money to work with. And thus, this Four of Cups then could come to mean that it's up to you to make your own possibilities materialize. That maybe you should focus less on having opportunities come into you and focus more on creating opportunities for yourself and others. month of February. So, we have two major arcana cards here in the upright. And they are flanking this Queen of Swords in the reverse. This Queen of Swords in the reverse is a very tough energy. This can be the energy of somebody who's very ruthless and who uses manipulation to achieve their ulterior motives, such that there's just like a lot of manipulation going on there. This could be a person that you interact with in the month of February, but this could just generally be the energies around you. Swords would be air sign energy, so this person could be an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, but that's not necessarily the case. Let's look at these major arcana cards. The Temperance card is about mastery. It's about having honed one's craft. Working on artistic endeavors requires a lot of skill and a lot of practice and a lot of self-discipline. So all of those things are tied up here in the Temperance card. Balance. Oh, and patience, right? That's the other word that I meant to say that I didn't. We have the World card here too, so some kind of completion coming through for you. And you see, she's got the whole world in her hands. Yeah, just like the song, but basically, like, she's holding up the world, and you can see that sometimes the world is depicted as being like this burdensome thing, like the statue of Atlas, right? But in this particular card, she lifts the world up quite easily. So you can see that a certain level of mastery has been achieved. That either she's very strong or she is able to lift up this very it's of great magnitude, the world. So she's able to lift this thing of great magnitude over her head. So I'm curious to see what that Queen of Swords in the reverse energy is going to be about. We can find out more about that when I bring out the crystal for the scrying portion of this part of the reading. Now we're looking at the month of March. And we have 3 cards coming out in the reverse here for you, Virgo. The first of which is the Fool in the reverse. Don't be overly naive. Keep your wits about you. Remember past situations that are similar to what you are going through in the month of March. And learn your lessons from those things. We also have these 2 fire sign cards coming out. We have the Page of Wands and we have the King of Wands. And they're both in the reverse. So these can be some of the negative traits where, like, King of Wands energy can be somebody who's kind of a tomcat, who kind of just wants to hook up, doesn't want to settle down, sleeping with a lot of people. This can also speak to, like, a very volatile temper. The Page of Wands could be a creative project that isn't really getting off the ground. person. The combination of air and fire being very combustible indeed. So somebody might be coming into your life in the month of March that you would be better served by not hooking up with them maybe, or at least going into this situation with an understanding of what to expect and not get too invested emotionally or physically. Don't let this person drain you. So now we're going to look at the month of April. I see a lot of good things coming through for you, Virgo, but be very, very careful about the company that you are keeping early in 2022. I wonder too if some of you maybe aren't embodying this Queen of Swords or these wands in the reverse. So we're going to look at the month of April. Victory, victory, and then not victory, and the Justice card. Okay, this is very interesting. So we have the Justice card coming out, such that there's going to be an equalization, a balancing process. This could be a court case, but it could also be having to do with just in general your interpersonal dynamics with other people. Because the other two cards that have come out are kind of contradictory, alright? So we have the Six of Wands, which is a card about victory, about success, and about resting on one's laurels. But then we have the Five of Swords coming out in the reverse. And the Five of Swords can be a conflict with somebody else in which there is a clear winner and a clear loser. And because this card is coming out in the reverse, it seems like it's not going to be a victory for you. But we do also have this card of victory. So there's going to be some things that you win, and there are going to be some things that you lose bitterly. But there's going to be like an equalization process going on in the month of April, it looks like. And this may have to do with some of these other people that you're hanging around in the earlier part of the year. So next we're going to look at the month of May 2022. The Three of Swords, yes. Nine of Wands reversed, and the High Priestess. You could have let your defenses down in a certain situation, and it ended up resulting in you getting hurt. But we have the High Priestess here. And the High Priestess is about secrets and knowledge, hidden knowledge. So it could be that you went into this situation fully aware of what the ramifications were going to be. And this could be a continuation of the equalization process that we're seeing here in April. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the reading, time in the tarot is not necessarily linear. So these energies could be prevalent during certain months, and that'd be how they are coming out and being expressed in the reading. Alright, let's look at the month of June. Let's see. Get some more upright and reversed action going on. Make sure I'm mixing that up. Okay, so in May, we have the Strength card this is Leo's card in the Major Arcana, and it's about being able to persuade as much as it is being able to rule by force. It is also about having perseverance in situations which you need to have stamina to complete. So something will have you tapped out, possibly in the month of June. The next card we have coming out is the Five of Pentacles. And this person is dressed like a clown. In this particular deck, I think of the Five of Pentacles as feeling like you've been clowned, feeling like Boo Boo the Fool. That you feel left out in the cold and down on your luck, and kind of foolish because of that, possibly. But I wouldn't get too discouraged about this particular energy for the month of June, because I can see that you will have come through a lot at the beginning of the year. And this is going to, one, you will learn things from this process, obviously, and two, one of the great things about getting a tarot reading for the year ahead is that you can be aware that these things are on your path. And that means that there's the possibility that you will be able to avoid certain things. I'm going to pull a third card for June. And I just heard in my head like he didn't watch you on TV for all those years without forming some kind of false attachment. So, somebody in particular might have been on a TV show or something. Oh, wow, okay. And somebody formed like this parasocial attachment to you. And then plots and schemes to come into your life somehow. So we have the Two of Cups here. Now this card is coming out upright. And this card can be about relationships, absolutely. This could be new love coming into your life. And you are in a very vulnerable place when this person finds you. But the Two of Cups can also be about internal alchemy occurring. Parts of yourself that have kind of split apart. Schisms formed by trauma and things like that. The Two of Cups can be the rejoining and reunification of those energies. So, that's a possibility also. And if we don't get any more specific cards about relationships, you can consider that for the month of June. It's going to be like regrouping after this process that's occurred in the early part of the year. Alright, let's look at the month of July. July. We have the 42 card. Sorry, the Seven of Wands reversed. So the Seven of Wands can be about having achieved a certain amount of success that makes you a target for other people. But in this case, because it's reversed, you could feel like a lot of that pressure has been released, that people are no longer coming after you, not trying to attack you. A respite. We have the Six of Swords reversed. You could be planning to leave somewhere. You could be planning to take a journey. Or if you had been planning to take a journey in the month of July, it could be So the moon is about treacherous journeys and narrow paths with danger on both sides. So it could be that there was a journey that you were going to take, but it was too dangerous, and so it got canceled. And perhaps others were jealous of this progression in your life. So when this turn occurs, people kind of loosen up on you a little bit, and they're not as ruthless towards you, because whatever it was that you were supposed to have coming through is going to end up possibly not happening. Let's look at the month of August. And some of my Virgos here today are going to have solar returns at the end of August. So we will see what will be coming around the time of your birthday. The Page of Pentacles upright. So this is a new opportunity coming in. This could be Page of Pentacles is offering you money. So this could be like a new job. It could be somebody offering you some kind of work, or even somebody just gifting you money. That's a possibility too. The Page of Cups is an offering, and the Page of Pentacles is an offering, but specifically like money. We have the Two of Swords reversed. So this would be somebody making your mind up for you. That perhaps there was something where you could have decided between two different things, but somebody else had made that determination for you. And we have the Death card in the reverse. The Death card reversed can be about stagnancy, but can also be about, really, the Death card is change. And this could be a change that's on the horizon for you, actually, that you get an inkling in August that whatever this opportunity is, it could be like an offer that you can't refuse, right? And so that would be why the Two of Swords is coming out reversed here. So that this decision you make, or that is made for you rather, this offer takes you off in a completely different direction than anything you've ever done before. A transformative change. Alright, now we are headed into the final third of the year. And these are all going to be occurrences that are about a year out from when I am doing these readings, here at the end of October 2021. So let's talk about September. Now, a lot of you are going to have solar returns in September, Virgo. So let's find out what is going to be happening there. We have the Five of Cups, some kind of disappointment coming through in September. It's easy to be disappointed around the time of one's birthday, isn't it? I feel like expectations can be kind of high. But let's find out some more. We have the Ace of Swords. So this could be good because you could be deciding to make a change. And this could be the change that's spoken about with this Death card. We have the Ace of Wands too, so this is potency and power. Your virility coming in the month of September. That these are the two active energies in the minor arcana of the tarot. very strong energy for positive change in your life. And the disappointment might not be coming through in September. What might have happened is that there was a disappointment that is leading you to make this very pronounced change in your life. Let's look at October. October. We have some very nascent energies here. Nascent meaning like a gestational, not having been born yet. We have two queens coming out reversed, and because this is so far in the future, there's always the possibility that by the time this comes around, these energies will be upright, and especially because all three of the energies for this particular month forecast are coming out reversed. So that tells me that this is a situation that has not fully taken shape yet. The Queen of Wands is somebody who's very charismatic and is able to charm people to her point of view. A fire sign person, possibly. And this Queen of Pentacles is all about smashing the glass ceiling. So any possibility for you to be discriminated against in the workplace being pushed through by this Queen of Pentacles. We have the Star card showing up here also in the reverse. And this has to do with achieving your hopes and dreams. So there's some very strong nascent energies here. About a year from now, next October 2022. And I think it's really going to depend on the outcome of what changes you make in the month of September. Alright, let's look at November and December. November and December. So we have the Ace of Pentacles here, which can be a job offering, can be some kind of new job. We have the Magician in the reverse, and we have the Three of Pentacles in the reverse. This Three of Pentacles in the reverse can be about people doubting your professional expertise, not having confidence in you in the workplace. So that's possible. The Magician in the reverse could be that you are having trouble manifesting the things that you desire in your life. Because the card is reversed and it's so far into the future, though it could be that in the month of November, you end up being able to manifest quite well. And likewise with this energy, so we do have this Ace of Pentacles showing up in the upright, and then the Three of Pentacles in the reverse, showing me that by November, professionally, you might not be quite there just yet. There's a group project energy with the Three of Pentacles too, such that there could be a situation where you have the opportunity to work with some different people, and maybe the dynamics are off in that setting. Maybe the dynamics are off in that setting, and thus your manifestation energies are not going to be as potent as they could be. Alright, and now finally let's look at the month of December of 2022. please, right? Okay. We have the Knight of Pentacles reversed. So money might be going out more quickly than it's coming in, or money might be coming in exceedingly slowly in the month of December. We have the Eight of Pentacles reversed also. So, Eight of Pentacles is like a long-term career energy, such that you are very established in that field. And because this card is reversed, it could be that certain prospects are drying up for you in a field in which you thought you had long-term career goals. And we also have the Eight of Cups here. I really like how this is done, that this person is riding on an ostrich. The Eight of Cups can be leaving something behind. So, we have some very interesting energies for December of 2022. You might be forced to leave a certain field because the money just isn't coming in for you there. So the the Eight of Cups coming out there is reversed then, because this is not a choice that you are making, but it's kind of being forced upon you. Alright, so now we are going to consult the crystal on a month by month. Bring the cards out. What do I need to tell Virgo about January of 2022? Forks up, there's been a mistake. No, what are you saying? Somebody's saying they forked up. So it's kind of like they forked up money-wise, but then they also forked up like they're making a clever pun on having made a mistake about something. I don't think this is you. If you've ever heard those commercials about like liquidation sales, like everything must go, we made an accounting error and now we have to clear out our warehouse. And I'm hearing like Crazy Eddies, which that was like that guy who had all the electronics stores, and he was basically just using it as a way to like launder money or whatever. Well, not exactly money laundering. I can't really explain it because I'm not a finance expert, but there's lots of videos here on YouTube explaining exactly what Crazy Eddie was doing and why it was illegal. So if you're curious about that, I invite you to search YouTube and find more about it. But basically, like, what I'm hearing is that there was like there's like a fire sale or something going on, and it's because somebody forked up the money and forked up, like, made a mistake. And like I said, I don't think this is you, but I think it's going to affect you in some way. Like, your merchandise might be liquidated. If you are a craftsperson and you make like decks of cards would be an example, or like maybe you make furniture or clothing, or I mean basically that you're like a designer or a manufacturer, something like that, if you're doing something like that, you could find out that a retailer who is carrying your goods, is overstocked on your merchandise and it has put it on sale. I don't know why specifically that's coming through, but there could be something like that. February. What do I need to tell Virgo about the month of February in 2022? Get your birds out of the warehouse. Get your birds out of the warehouse. So it could be creating a hazardous situation, like obviously with like bird droppings and stuff. And I'm getting like a smell of like a very like ammonia kind of a smell. Sorry, I'm trying to smell if it's like actually here in my apartment or if I'm like kind of fabricating that smell in my mind. And I don't know, all kinds of smells float through here because it's because we live in the valley. So it could be in here, it could be like anywhere else as well. Time out of mind is what I like to call it. Is there anything else I need to talk to Virgo about for February? We had like the World card there. We had that Queen of Swords in the reverse. We had the Temperance card in the upright. She's not out to get you yet in the month of February. Whoever this Queen of Swords is, like you might, the thing is, like, especially with that kind of manipulative energy, a lot of times you can see it coming because you will see this person treating other people that way before they try that on you. So if you see this person behaving a certain way toward other people, believe them. Believe them when they tell you who they are. What about March? What's going on in March here? We have all these reversals. I mean, this is a very, like, amped up sexual energy, but there's nothing behind it. It's kind of like all sizzle and no steak in some ways. I mean, there is like sex to be had with this person, but they're just kind of like, there's no connection there. There's no like, there's nothing beyond that. It's just this kind of like empty physical experience. Is this purely about sex? No, there is something else going on here. There's something about control also. So this person controls others by using their sexual appetites. And they don't even necessarily have to be intimate with people to have this technique be effective. It's kind of like they just, obviously there's like a lot of sex magic going on with that person, that they're able to use sex energy alchemically. So that's going to be part of it too. Define and design. What is going on with that? You're going to design an artwork that's based on your experience with this person. And they're going to watch you do it, watch you perform or something like that. Or see this work that you've created. It's going to inspire them. to take you on as a target. But this is like that's very cyclical. That's weird. What do you mean? That before you had just witnessed this behavior with other people, and they want to bring you the experience firsthand based on, so the thing that you've created doesn't even necessarily have to be about them, but can be about like that kind of behavior, such that you have spoken out about that kind of behavior, or that you, for whatever reason, have created something that's kind of like poking the bear, I guess, as far as they see it. Now, maybe it's probably a total projection, because again, the King of Wands is going to try to make everything about himself, right? So there's going to be elements of projection there, and they're going to see that and take it as an invitation, okay? They're going to take that as an invitation to butt into your affairs. But there's crystallization occurring on your part with these alchemical processes that you yourself are going through outside of this situation that they're not accounting for. I hope this makes sense to you guys. It seems a little like it's very complex and convoluted. So the month of April, what's going on here with the Justice card and the Six of Wands and then the Five of Swords reversed? He gets his revenge. The Queen of Swords and the King of Wands are like not the same person necessarily. The Queen of Swords and the Page of Wands, though, could be like the same person, so that these two people are kind of like ganging up on you energetically. And this doesn't have to be like a person per se. This can be like situational. Almost like the universe itself is like throwing these things in your path. But what's going on in April is that this person is going to get their revenge on you. They are going to have, and that's why it's coming out this way. From their perspective, they have this victory of the Five of Swords reversed. But then from your perspective, like, you didn't even notice this. You're more focused on this other victory. And justice will be in your favor. So they're gonna construe it as like, again, like that Five of Swords reversed is what they call like a Pyrrhic victory. Pyrrhus was one of the figures, I think, from the Trojan War, who burned. It could have been Trojan War, it could have been the Battle of Carthage. I don't really remember, but basically Pyrrhus was this figure who burned down the city in order to obtain victory. And because he had burned down the city, obviously, what are you really protecting at that point? So if a Pyrrhic victory is a victory that it's like cutting off your nose to spite your face, cutting off your foot so you can run further, like that kind of a deal. So this person's going to be experiencing this Pyrrhic victory, but you're actually not even on the same. The thing is, like, these other energies are very lower vibrational, right? So you're probably not even on the same wavelength as these people, which is why it's so important for you to be aware of this energy going into 2022, because here in June, it kind of has the potential to back up on you, obviously, like, the sewer does a certain job, but every once in a while, like, the pipes get clogged, and and things back up and come back up. So there could be like some mild flooding on account of that in the month of June here. What's going on in May for Virgo? What's going on in May of 2020? Alchemy. The theme for you this year, Virgo, is metaphysical alchemy. And it's going to be occurring like in every fiber of your being and every cell of your body. And these lower vibrational entities are attracted to that. That's what they're attracted to, because when you're going through these changes, you're almost like bioluminescent. You become like really energetically charged and powerful. So where we have the strength card here in June, like there's also going to be a lull in that process, and that is going to make you feel like you've been left out in the cold. But here in the month of May, why is it showing up like this? Dispersal. So then disbursement also is like the paying out of these energies. Someone is watching you fail here. But again, like, it could be like you stub your toe and they're like, haha, you stubbed your toe. People will find any little flaw, and especially in you, Virgo, because you're so detail oriented. There's a lot there, and people will look for all these little flaws that they can pick at, and they're not even like necessarily conscious of this behavior. So the High Priestess here showing up, and then remember also you have this like Nine of Wands is in the reverse, that you might have let your guard down during the month of May. But the High Priestess is reminding you to keep your secrets. Keep things close to the chest. Because these people around you, I don't sense that it's everyone, right? I don't feel like everyone is out to get you. But it does look to me like there are people around you who seem very charming, who seem very smart, who seem very like justice oriented, who seem like they really want to help you out. And those are the people that you need to look out for. Anybody who's kind of like trying to create a disparity there, an imbalance in power, right? Because then they can kind of like get their hooks in and pull you in, right? Okay, so be careful of that. There needs to be this balance with justice. So make sure, because Virgos are great about this, right? Make sure you're filling out paperwork. Make sure that the terms and conditions are very clear to everyone involved. And make sure that you can legally cover yourself if you need to, because that's another thing, is like in this day and age, it's not about what the law actually says, it's about who can afford to carry through with the legal process as far as it needs to be taken to have a victory. Because like you could get a victory in a lower court and then they appeal that decision and take it to a higher court, and if you don't have any money left to pay lawyers, then you could be out of luck as far as like challenging a court case until its absolute conclusion. Now I don't think that it's gonna come to that, I really don't. But that's just kind of like an example. Like, people don't necessarily just let these things go. Alright, we talked quite a bit about June already. Yeah, this is a respite for you. In that, but it's gonna make you feel kind of like, there's like a feeling of being drained at this time. And this could be like leaking over into your financial resources too. That maybe you feel like you're a bit down on your luck. You're not going to be broke by any means, but just that your resources have been kind of tapped, and there could be somebody coming in, but also this could be like the stage of this metaphysical alchemy where all of the parts are being kind of rejoined like this, re-knitted together like broken bones. Like broken bones, broken bones, broken bones. July. What is going on in July? Things are going to be very confusing in July. So there's going to be like a lot of jockeying for position in whatever organization you're part of. This is going to be either like career, or if you're involved in the creative field, like there's going to be things where people are kind of like, their cachet is kind of moving up and down very quickly in July, such that nobody really knows like who's more popular than who. So that's not going to be very clear. And then this so this is especially like if you are involved in music and you go on tour, for example. There's going to be like a lot of planning shows and then they get canceled. And I don't think it's going to be the same kind of deal as because of why shows were getting canceled in 2020 or in 2021. I think like a lot of things will have been worked out about the pandemic, but there's gonna be like a lot of like because everything is shifted around, things have destabilized. They've become very unclear. So like you might be invited to go on tour with a certain band and then they decide you're not cool enough, or that band breaks up, or any other thing happens and then the tour gets canceled. So there could be things like that going on in the month of July. So just have patience with that. What about August? That Two of Swords, you are really gonna wish that somebody had not made that decision for you. They're really going to like kind of muck things up for you. They're gonna make it really ugly and complicated, because like this Page of Pentacles should have been like really simple. This arrangement should have been like a very easy task to complete. It should have been a very simple contract, but because somebody else got involved, there's going to be like a drawn out process in bringing that agreement together. Now it is still going to happen. You will still sign a contract about that, but watch out for people who are going to meddle in your legal affairs, whether that's a romantic partner or somebody who's like a friend or a manager, or and I don't just mean this for people who are like in bands. That's just kind of the example that I'm giving. But this could be any kind of business contract. Like you could be working out a deal for distribution through like Dollskill or Killstar or something like that, and somebody gets involved. There could even be like copyright disputes, or if you're a scientist and you're working on like a a research paper. There could be like a competing lab who's working on like almost exactly the same project, and their grant paperwork goes in like the week before yours or something, and so there's like this kind of race to the finish line, and things get really complicated and convoluted because you're trying to keep information proprietary from each other. And I just gave those examples because those are fields that I'm kind of familiar with. But it could be any number of different situations like that. What about September? Things are going to really simplify for you in September, and it is going to hinge around something that is a disappointment to you. I don't think it's like a contract or anything like that falling through. I think that it's like you get really burnt out on the people who are around you, all of these little nitpickers and naysayers. Like, one thing about Virgos is I think they have a tendency not to surround themselves with yes people. They want to have their ideas challenged so that they can improve. But the problem with that is then you're surrounding yourself with these naysayers and people who are just going to pick apart any idea that you have. So sometimes it's good to have a friend around you who's just unequivocally supportive, and no matter what you say you want to do, that they support it and they're able to give you feedback without it being too they're able to give you objective feedback outside of their own personal opinions. But sometimes you don't get to pick the people who come into your life. You only get to pick who stays there. So I think that in the month of September, you're going to be simplifying a lot of things in your life. Alright, October. All of these women are waiting to come towards you. And I remember it's the Star card, the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. So these are the people that energetically you are striving to pull these people into your spheres of influence in October of 2022, and you may or may not be successful. Those are just archetypes after all, and so like those energies could be coming toward you also in the end of the year in 2022, and maybe you end up meeting people who are like this, and maybe you don't. Like for example, this magician here, so we can move on and talk about November and December. This magician might be somebody who's really, really trying to help you out toward the end of the year. And between the two of you, you're starting out this new endeavor, but between the two of you, you don't have quite enough expertise to really bring it together in the month of November. But that person who is showing up as the magician, they could be like a Gemini or an Aquarius, probably not a Libra, but probably a Gemini or an Aquarius. At least that kind of energy. And they're going to have a lot of great ideas, but it might not be quite enough to really propel things along the way that you would like. But there is this Ace of Pentacles energy here, that this could be the really strong beginning to something. So don't just cast this person out. After all, you've been working really hard to bring them into your life, right? And so then here in the month of December, these two eights in the reverse can be moved to the upright. If you do things the way that you need to throughout 2022, and that's just going to be slightly correcting your course based on the information from this reading. Now, this Knight of Pentacles in the reverse, you're going to have to spend money to make money. So that's what this is telling you, is don't skimp on your investment. Go ahead, and if it costs a certain amount of money, go ahead and invest that in this project. Because that is what is going to carry this where it needs to go. This is going to be a long-term employment that offers you the opportunity for a lot of mobility. This Eight of Pentacles is about leaving a project that's almost complete. And we have here, of course, the Eight of Pentacles, which is about long-term career prospects and long-term career stability. But it's going to offer you a certain kind of flexibility within a given job description as well. If you get tired of doing this part of the job, you can move over here and do something completely different and still be part of the entire umbrella of that company. Okay, Virgo, so now we're going to do the overview spread. And so the month by month can be a little bleak because I feel like it's got more like warnings and things to look out for. But the overview spread is going to tell you a lot more about like your own personal growth and development, where you've been and where you're going, which is a lot more like positive and less discouraging, possibly. So let's see what we have here. Eight of Swords. So feeling trapped. We got the Three of Wands crossing, waiting for something to come to you. Three of Cups. Four of Swords reversed, busy time. Six of Cups, upright in the future, things returning from the past. Ten of Swords reversed. Got the Knight of Swords. The Universe card, or Eon, just like the Judgment card, that's showing up reversed. We have the Chariot showing up reversed, and the Ace of Wands showing up reversed. So we have a few reversed cards, but nothing that looks outside of the realm of what we already saw with the month by month. Now I'm also going to use another deck to do the 12 houses spread around this, and this will give us a lot more guidance on the situation overall. So here in the past, we have the Three of Cups. This is showing up upright. You could have had some very close alliances to people who were helpful to you. The Three of Cups is a very tight-knit friend group. This can also be a party atmosphere, not to your detriment because it's showing up in the upright. And the Three of Cups can also show that you've been kind of dating around or playing the field. So those are a few different ways that you could read the energy of the Three of Cups. Here in the current situation for 2022, we have the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is feeling trapped. So, I'm getting the impression of like the rat race or the hamster wheel, kind of feeling like you've gotten locked into some certain like routines and things regarding work and business that are not super fulfilling to you. And this is crossed by the Three of Wands. So you are starting to see the payoff of the energies that you have put into these situations, though. So that's going to be good for you going into 2022. So down here in the Imam Silai, this is the origin of all the things that are going to occur up here in the midheaven, right? The midheaven's your destiny. So the Imam Silai is everything that's kind of going on in the current state of affairs that's going to move you closer to this. And we have the Four of Swords here. No rest for the wicked, baby. The Four of Swords is typically a card of rest and rejuvenating between battles after conflict. But in this situation, you're not going to get maybe too much opportunity to rest. And that could have you feeling trapped also. From your perspective, we have the Knight of Swords, fighting for what you believe is right. This is not like the Queen of Swords, that you are advocating your own truth in a situation. This is more like ideological causes that you champion because you believe it's right. It is a very active energy. It's fire of air energy. So we got fire energy, and then it's being fed by oxygen. So it's a strong but sustainably burning kind of a fire. So there is a certain amount of energy that you'll be getting from this also. From the outside perspective, we have Eon in the reverse. Eon is like the judgment card. So there being like an initiation or a test, and people from the outside could perceive that you are not succeeding at this. But depending on how much information you're really making available to other people, this isn't really relevant to you insofar as like, are you actually making the grade, right? That's why the positions in a card reading are so important, because there is a perception from the outside, and I think that's why that Seven of Wands was coming up reversed too. That certain people are not going to be seeing you as a threat to their progression because they don't feel like you are achieving the levels that they are. They don't see you as being on the same level as them. And that can be, they see you as being down here, but that could also be that, like, you're just not even in the same race, And I mean race like foot race. I don't mean race like certain people being subhuman or something ridiculous like that, so don't even get it twisted. Alright, let's look at the future. In the future, we have the Six of Cups, and it's upright. So this is definitively telling you that something is going to be returning to you from the past. This could be a person. Oftentimes, Six of Cups is like somebody's going to come back into your life after an absence. But look at it in this way too, that we have the Three of Cups plus the Three of Wands equals the Six of Cups in the future. The future. So your friend group could be helping you to manifest and return energies to you, and that is going to be very apparent to you in the future in 2022. So this would be more like toward the third quarter of the year, toward the end of the year. I say third quarter, but what I mean is like the last 4 months of the year. Anyway, here's your hopes and fears, and we have the Chariot here in the reverse. So you could be afraid that you won't have the mobility you desire. You can also be afraid that you won't achieve the victory that you desire, but that's not what I'm seeing here. What I'm seeing is that success looks different for everyone. And especially from the outside looking in, success for you is going to look very different from how I think a lot of people envision your success looking. I do see a lot of eyes on you from the month-by-month spread of people who have like this idea in their heads of like how you should be operating and what is like your success, and that's just really ridiculous, Virgo. But it is something that might be true in 2022, that other people look at you and they look at your successes and they think like, well, that's not real success. I don't need to worry about Virgo because that's not real success. But it is, and you don't need to worry about those people. Here in the midheaven, we have the Ten of Swords in the reverse. The Ten of Swords is not a bad card. It just means there's a definitive ending. Sometimes this ending can be painful. And this card is reversed, so we need to find out why this card is showing up reversed. Because it's so far in the future, it could be that the ending of this cycle is not yet apparent to you, and especially if you feel like you're stuck in some kind of a rat race. So, again, we've got like the Four of Swords down here in the Imam Silai, and that's reversed. In the current position, we have the Eight of Swords, and that is upright. So feeling trapped. But also having your energies returning to you. So, then setting up for escape from whatever you feel trapped in. And that is what is going to lead to this Ten of Swords in the reverse. So when we pull out our 12 houses spread, we will find out more about this specifically. And then the final outcome, we have the Ace of Wands, and this card also is showing up reversed. So what could be happening is that we're seeing the end of one cycle with that Ten of Swords and the beginning of a fresh, new, virile cycle. The Ace of Wands also has to do with masculine fertility. So, very potent energies. There's a lot to do with power dynamics in the Ace of Wands, because the aces are the pure elemental cards. That makes them very simple, but it also provides a very wide variety of experience. So on the surface, it seems like it's really simple, but then you can go like way further down and just keep digging through layers. But it looks like there's going to be like the renewal of a cycle here between swords and then going into wands. So that's a very interesting energy that we will be dealing with in 2022. Okay, so now finally I'm going to be laying out the celestial bodies cards, and I'm only using parts of that deck. I'm using the astrological signs, I'm using some of the planetary bodies and planetary occurrences. But there are a lot of tools in that deck. It's a very versatile deck, so if you're looking for it's got like pretty much it's like a Swiss Army knife of astrological decks. It's a Serpent Fire deck. And when I ordered mine, they were in stock, but I know that from time to time, Serpent Fire has to restock their decks. So, and Virgo, you're showing up in the second house of finances and stability. So this is going to be a big year for you as far as building the financial security. Actually, I want to come from the bottom here. Yeah, okay. For the rest of this layout. Okay. Alright, so that's the astrological signs. And now we're going to lay out the planetary bodies. So this is like moon, but it also, like the planets and the moon, and then also includes like Black Moon Lilith and Chiron. All right. And the card that has ended up not being used from the planetary bodies is South Node and North Node, having to do with destiny. But don't worry, we will find out plenty about your destiny. This doesn't feel as much like a destiny year for me as it does like a growth year for Virgo. I have to decide how I'm feeling about these cards while I'm shuffling them. Yeah, like here. Okay. No, that's not right. Okay. Come from the bottom again. Alright. Okay, so now we have everything laid out. Everything laid out. And we're going to start back here in the first house. And this is by the Three of Cups. This is the tight-knit alliances that you've made with other people. And the first house, we have, this is the house of self and it's the house of beginnings. We have Jupiter in Cancer. So Cancer can be a lot about emotional reciprocity between people, and Jupiter is expansion, and especially expansion of wealth. So Jupiter in Cancer would very much speak to that Three of Cups energy, that a lot of your expansion of wealth is reliant upon these close-knit alliances that you're able to make, right? And this is occurring within the realm of void of course. So the void of course is the last transit that a moon cycle makes before it switches signs. Like, it makes that transit and then it's void of course in the interim period, and then it moves into the next astrological sign. Say that 10 times fast for me, will you? So there's kind of a switching over of cycles here that up until this point, maybe you've been cultivating this group, and now they are helping you retrieve your energies. And I do call this the threefold card, the Three of Wands, that all the energies you have put out into the world are coming back to you threefold. So now we're going to be looking at the second house, which is finances and stability. And this is where we have that Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords in this case is going to be defining what is good for your life, what is right for you, and what is no longer serving you, and cutting those things out and getting rid of them. Okay, that's that kind of energy. It is an evaluating energy in this case. And here we have the moon in Virgo. So the moon is very cyclical. From the full moon to the new moon and back to the full moon and that fullest energy. And so there has been like an ebb and flow in your financial resources, Virgo. And you're paying close attention to the minutia of these cycles so that you can ride that wave. And in the year of 2022, we are looking at a peak for you, a full moon cycle coming through. So that's going to be very good. Now we're coming down into the Imam Seelai territory. The Imam Seelai. We have the Four of Swords in the reverse. So it's entirely possible you're going to get stuck on some kind of hamster wheel and feel like busy all the time and like you can't really take an opportunity to rest. The third house has to do with short distance travel and communication, and can also have to do with siblings in your neighborhood and things like that. And we have this very playful energy of Venus in Aries here. So this is a really flirtatious energy. Aries is a really playful sign. It's fire sign energy, but it can also be kind of impatient in love. So, not really having a lot of tolerance for other people's, like, insecurities and an inability to act on things. Like, what, you won't marry me now? Well, fine, I'll go marry somebody else. This is a very fresh energy. We've got this new moon, so it's a brand new cycle coming through. When it comes to communication, so your communications with others and this short distance travel, you might be like, so short distance travel is like 200 miles or less, so you might be communicating with a lot of people through like dating apps or sites, and then like going to meet up with them and kind of playing around with some different energies with different people, being really flirty and fun. But that means you're not going to be getting a lot of rest. You will be making a lot of new connections though. The fourth house is your home and family life. And we have an energy here that's really familiar to me, which is Mars in Leo. This is an incredibly hot-burning, passionate energy. Very sexually charged, in a lot of cases and not very forgiving sometimes. I don't feel like it tonight. Well, Mars and Leo is going to pout about it, you know? But this can also be like a very immediate and demanding energy regarding things that you want. So home and family foundations, there could be like a very specific vision that you have of the kind of home that you want to live in. And this Mars in Leo energy is going to be relentless with you until you achieve it. And this is blessed by this solar eclipse transformative energy. So this could totally transform your home life for the better. Mars in Leo is a positive energy. It's positively charged. It's not like it's destructive only passively. It is not actively destructive, but it is a very powerful energy and thus can be destructive if not properly harnessed. So keep that in mind. Here in the 5th house, we have, of course, Eon or Judgment in the reverse. And this, of course, being like the perceived, that others might be perceiving you to fall short of your goals in 2022. But that is not necessarily the case. That's just how other people might perceive it. The 5th house is creativity, romance, and also can have to do with children, either your childhood or your children or other children that you work with. It's the house of the heart and passions. So we have the sun in Pisces. This could be a passion for your pursuing psychic attunement. You could be reaching the final stages of a creative or romantic project also. Or if you've been striving to get pregnant, you might be getting closer to doing that in 2022. Now, we also have the Imam Seelai energy coming out here. So, that would tell me that this sun in Pisces cycle, the sun has gone, it started out in sun in Aries and it's gone all the way through all the other signs and is now fertile with possibility here in Pisces. In the Imam Seelai, such that this endeavor was started like a very long time ago regarding your creative projects, and so for other people, they might perceive that you have not achieved the success that you wanted to. But for you, this creative success, as I said many times by now, it might look very different to you from the inside than it looks to others from the outside. So now we're going to come over here to the future where we have this 6 of Cups, things returning from the past. And this future energy, we're going to be dealing with the 6th and 7th houses. So the 6th house is your daily routines and your health. Daily routines and health. And we have here Uranus, which is a very innovative and iconoclastic planet, showing up in the pragmatic and practical sign of Capricorn. So you could be doing things in a brand new way that ends up becoming much more practical for you overall, Virgo. And this is waxing crescent energy, so this is the very beginning of this new cycle for you. That you're really going to, all these things that return from the past, you're going to find seamless ways to integrate them into your new, brand new processes. Alright, and now the 7th house here. This is the house of other. It is the descendant house. The first house is the ascendant house and has to do with our partnerships, romantic or business. Can have to do with court cases and can also be about open enemies. So I'm very excited to see what we have here. So we have ascendant in the descendant house. This could mean that this year everything gets kind of flip-flopped. Your identity being tied, your sense of self being tied to your partnerships in ways that it hasn't been before. And we have the energy of Saturn in Scorpio. So this is a very slow transition. Saturn is very slow moving, very concrete kind of energy, concrete and established, but then Scorpio is very much about transitions. It can be about death, so we have this link to death there between Saturn and Scorpio. There could be somebody very important to you who dies in 2022. Somebody who was a partner to you in some way, and this death could precipitate a major change in you. That's not necessarily the case, of course. Saturn in Scorpio, there's also like a lot of occult energy tied up in that. So, could have to do with sex magic, and protective energies around sex magic as well. But ascendant in the descendant, that things kind of get flip-flopped such that you kind of lose your identity in other people from time to time throughout 2022. So keep an eye out for that, especially because we have 6 of Cups here and things returning from the past. Let's look at the 8th house. We have the Chariot card coming out in the reverse. A fear of lack of mobility. And a fear that our victory will not arrive. In this house, we have this. So, okay, this is a house of transformation. The 8th house is very linked to Scorpio, and also to the planet Pluto. And so has to do with death, sex, and other people's resources. And we have Taurus appearing here. So Taurus is in its detriment in the 8th house. Because it typically is over here talking about our finances and our stability, not other people's finances. But Mercury in Taurus, you're going to be communicating your needs. You're going to be communicating about what makes you feel comfortable. And that might be something that is very new for you, or it might be something that you have been practicing for a while, because we have the waxing gibbous moon energy, so the moon is almost full here. You will have almost completed that part of the cycle, and this might be the tipping point where other people finally kind of snap to and get it when you tell them about your needs, and you tell them, you're able to communicate to them about what it is that you actually need in situations. So there's going to be a tipping point where then you're able to rely on other people's resources for a sense of stability in ways that you haven't in the past. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the midheaven here. And the midheaven has to do with destiny. So all of the events that have occurred here in the MMCLI then are going to be coming into fruition here in the midheaven. And that is where we have the Ten of Swords coming out in the reverse. So we'll be finding out a little bit more about that and why that's coming out reversed like that. The 9th house is all the things you do to elevate yourself. So this can be long distance travel. It can be higher education. And it can be spiritual organizations of which you are a part. And we have its native of Sagittarius, its native sign showing up here in the 9th house. And we also have Chiron showing up here. Chiron is the wounded healer. It is all of the things that you work on consistently in healing in yourself throughout your life. So there could be some kind of need for elevation of the self in this lifetime that you will always be striving to achieve, and that is very much like the Hermit Tarot card in the Major Arcana that is aligned with Virgo. That is corresponding to Virgo. So that could be spirituality, it could be higher education also. And we have waning gibbous energy here. So you've crested that peak. And now you're headed into the downhill, the easy part of your spiritual journey, if you will. And this 10 of Swords showing up here in the reverse could be an end to this being difficult for you and feeling trapped by these things. This could be a good ending for you, that you're no longer going to, you're going to feel free, basically. So now let's look at the 10th house. The 10th house is about career. And we'll be operating in the realm of the descendant. So the house of other. What other people think of you might be important here. We have Black Moon Lilith showing up in the sign of Libra. Black Moon Lilith has to do with all of the ways that you feel demonized and villainized and othered over the course of your life, and these are things that you work on healing in yourself as well, but it's more from the perspective of other people treating you a certain way or a perceived treatment in a certain way that then you end up having to confront. Black Moon Lilith. And this occurring in the sign of Libra. You could have a lot of problems in your relationships, being able to relate to people on a one-on-one level. Now, this would not be like with emotional reciprocity, like the sign of Cancer. This would be more like dealing with equanimity between yourself and others. And with the descendant, that's specifically talking about Libra in its native house of the 7th house. So even though that's showing up here in the 10th house, your idea of what is fair between yourself and other people may have had a very profound impact on your ability to hold employment and the kinds of jobs that you were able to get. And remember that in opposition to this in the 4th house, we have this really strong Mars in Leo energy showing up for your reading. So, that is, as I mentioned before, a very, it's kind of a strong energy to be dealing with. Very fiery, very solar. Mars is very fiery energy. So it's a very strong energy and not necessarily palatable to all. So this might have been influencing that. Also, let's move on to the 11th house, and we will also be looking at this Ace of Wands in the reverse. Ace of Wands in the reverse. approval of others or the need to compare yourself to the success of others in order to receive validation. I think that's a cycle with this Ten of Swords that's really going to be drawing to a close for you. The 11th house is your social groups. It can also be brand new ideas, and also has to do with the law of attraction and manifestation. So in the 11th house, we have Neptune in Gemini. Neptune is having to do with your relationship to your higher power. Gemini can be about duality, it can be about siblings. And there are aspects of communication there too. It's like two siblings asking, how are we different? And there's kind of like, I'm getting the sense here, there's kind of like asking God how you and they are different. Like, what separates you from your higher power? What are the different ways that you're similar? And what are the ways that you are very different? And this is a journey that has been going on for you for a little while, but you're not very far down that road yet, so you're just in the first quarter. You've just rounded the first bend on that, and differentiating yourself from your higher power. Because with this Ace of Wands in the reverse here, that's really going to predicate your manifestations and a lot of your self-talk when you're going into law of attraction practice. Alright, so now we're headed into the home stretch here, coming back around to the Three of Cups and talking about the 12th house. 12th house is your psychic attunement. It has to do with endings, and it can have to do with incarceration. And we do have last quarter. So, not quite the ending of this particular ending, but this is going to be closing out 2022 for you. And we have Pluto in Aquarius. So Pluto is a very ill-defined planet, right? Sometimes it's considered a planet, sometimes it's not. We don't know as much about it as we know about a lot of the planets that are closer to us. There are many things about it that are unknown. And so here it's showing up with Aquarian energy, which has to do with new ideas and also has to do with things like social media and groups that you're a part of. So this is going to be a process for you of finally pinning down those unknown quantities where it has to do with social media and your peer groups and groups that you are dedicating yourself to. Bringing you back around to this Three of Cups, the people that you want to keep in your most inner circles, as opposed to the people who are just kind of casually acquainted and kept at a distance. And of course, Virgos have reduced and refined boundaries into an art form. So that will be the very last part of this process for you with this last quarter energy, that you're headed into the home stretch of this process by the time we close 2022. Alright, Virgos. So all the Virgos that are left watching the video, if you would go ahead and drop some emojis of your choice. Maybe the woman mage. The woman mage looks a lot like a Virgo, right? Or some fairies. Down in the comments, just to let me know you're still paying attention. This is going to be the bibliomancy portion of the DELUXX guidance for 2022, and I have chosen for this task the prehistory of the Far Side by Gary Larson. One of the great high priests. Alright, so... Alright, so here, you guys get to... you stole yours from Gemini, who only got a caption, right? So here we have these alligators, and they're gathered around this basin, and it says bobbing for poodles. And at the bottom of the page it says, a reader from Florida wrote in a letter and said, "You have offended millions of pet owners with this garbage. If you cannot do better than this, we suggest you seek another occupation." To which Gary Larson had a couple of responses, the first of which was, "Thank God I didn't go with my first caption, bobbing for babies." And then he says, "And finally, my response to all those who took the time to register their complaints." So, you know, Virgo, you're really going to be dealing with a lot of different brands of haters throughout 2022. And I know that they've been leveraging at you from the beginning all kinds of wrong-headed advice and guidance of their own, things that they think it's important for them to tell you. It seems like these days everybody has an opinion. I was thinking about TV Guide, and how, like, what if they'd had addresses on all of the blurbs for all the TV shows, where you could write in and register complaints about or how you think that certain TV shows would go. You know, like, it just seems like, especially in the era of YouTube, I get all kinds of comments from people who have maybe watched like one of my short videos, and then they decide to come in and comment on multiple videos. Even videos that have yet to premiere, and clearly have no idea what my channel is about or what I even really do. And you really, like, you have to be able to just let stuff like that go, because people are just going to have their wrong-headed opinions, and maybe in certain contexts, that Gary Larson comic could be construed as offensive. But why are you reading Gary Larson if that's not what you want, right? That's part of the whole deal. That's part of what makes his work spectacular, is that there is an irreverence for the preciousness of life. And that morbid humor really contributes to the bite and the taste and the overall substance of his work. So, Virgo, don't worry about the criticisms, because I think at this point it looks like you have done all of the shadow work that you needed to do to refine. Remember, we had the temperance card show up in the month by month in the upright, so you've already defined your essence. Anybody who has a problem with that is not aligned with what you need to be doing, so just ignore it. Just brush it aside and ignore it. Virgo, thank you for joining me. I'm so glad you came to witness the 100% deluxe guidance for 2022 here on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment down below. I'm planning to do these for all 12 astrological signs, so if you know your friends' placements and you think they would get a kick out of this style of reading, you should send their reading their way. It would be much appreciated. Your subscriptions are also appreciated. I never thought I would get this far, even, especially considering what kind of wacko bananas horse cocky goes on around here. So, thank you for your support.